We're a local developer of video games. We've made games like Life is Strange, True Colors, the expansive Telltale series, and we have a new game coming out in October called Life is Strange Double Exposure. So we focus on narrative adventure games, which requires a lot of mocap. And that's why we're here to talk about it with you today. So we have a whole team here. This is all mocap folks for the most part. So everyone, if you could just tell us who you are and what do you do for Deck 9 Games?
My name is Celia Dufala, and I am a mocap post coordinator.
Hello, my name is Josh Raw. I'm a mocap technician.
Hi, my name is Alexis Bloom. I'm a senior motion capture technician.
And I'm AJ Blair, and I'm our lead pipeline technical artist.
And the sound is a little differently here. Could everyone understand? Everyone here? Awesome, great. All right, so that was the first piece. I have a cheat sheet here. I apologize. The central question: what is motion capture? And like everyone probably has heard of animation. So how does motion capture relate to animation? And this is an open question to whoever would like to answer.
Sure. Motion capture, shortened to mocap, is basically just capturing the way people move, the way objects move, and putting them onto something else, like a character from our games. Animation is typically done by hand. Motion capture is taking real life movement and putting them onto different things. Animation and motion capture kind of go hand in hand. Animation comes after motion capture a lot. Motion capture gets you a lot of the way there, like walking, gesturing, running around, and animation can go in to add those really nice nuances and make them look polished and ready for something.
Cool. So you mentioned that we send motion capture to animation. Like I know it is like a black box of a process to get motion capture to animation. AJ or Celia, do you guys want to comment on like what it actually takes to get motion capture data to animation?
So this is sort of my realm. I develop tools and automated processes to take all of that data that is generated by the motion capture team and get it out to the animators, get it out to anyone who needs to see it before it's even been cleaned. I believe for a standard piece of motion capture data, it's a 17-step process to get it all the way into the game. And along the way, there are many, many things that can go wrong and do. And between Celia and I, we are going in and finding those things and trying to fix them up before anyone else has to look at them.
So why do we need to fix it up? Why can't like animators just, fix it on their end?
They absolutely can. It comes down to a matter of time. If I can fix it in a couple clicks of a button in 5 minutes, then that'll save animators hours and hours of time. And when we're dealing with our narrative adventure games, we're looking at 10, 12, 15 hours of animated content. That's 3, 5, 7 movies worth of animation that needs to get done in not as much time as it would take to do it for a film.
Awesome. Yeah, as everyone here probably knows, video games is a long process. Like it takes a lot of time. There's so many, and that's just like 2 departments out of like 10 plus that we probably have at our company. And everyone has to work together to make sure we can just produce our game. So I know we have like a little display here, but this is a little different motion capture system than what we use. What does actually Deck 9 use for motion capture, and what are some of the other options out there?
Sure. I break down motion capture types to like 4 different things. So it's kind of the industry standard right now, which is probably the one that everyone else is most familiar with here. You see people in behind the scenes put on the funny suits with all the little markers over them. That's tracked mocap. So those little markers are retro-reflective markers, super, super shiny under very certain circumstances. And those little dots are placed on parts of the body that are captured by infrared cameras. And that data is taken and put it onto different characters. And that's what we use at our studio. There's a few other different types. There's like LED lights instead of the markers on the body. Some people use little light up things, and those are also tracked. There's markerless mocap, which is kind of what we have over here. This is being taken with video only. As you can see, anyone who steps in front of it doesn't have many markers. The system doesn't really have that much of a problem following your body. And the last type of motion capture is something called inertial motion capture that doesn't use markers at all, but uses sensors in a suit instead to track your positional data. But today we're using the video to mocap system here, which we'll try out in a little bit.
We are going to actually open it up to Q&A here in a moment. If people have questions for us, they want to ask about motion capture because it is our specific area of expertise, but also just video game questions, we can just start a line over here, and then we're actually going to let everyone, whoever asks a question, get in front of our little camera here and do a little impromptu mocap themselves. So feel free to start lining up. Otherwise, I'll just keep asking questions until we get a line. So each of you has a very different position in mocap and just in games. And I'm sure there's a lot of people interested in a job in games. Can everyone just talk about what they did, what their path was, just a brief synopsis of what led you to your position now?
Hello. I spent most of my time actually in QA for about a year. I ended up working my way from there as a camera operator during their mocap shoots, and now I am a motion capture tech. I basically spent so much time on the set that I became a prop. That's essentially what I did. It did take a number of years. I also spent some time getting my bachelor's degree in game arts and design. So, yay. Now I'm just putting it to use.
My path was a little bit unusual. I was actually in retail management for about 10 years. I got my degree though in animation and always wanted to get into games. But my retail management background helped me gain the skills to go towards the production side. So those people skills, relating to everybody, and my animation background helped me be able to understand the tech side of when I needed to do my job. So yeah.
I also went to school for animation and visual effects. I think I was just in the right place at the right time to get where I am today. This is my first industry job, but I've been here for 5 years. I just had my 5-year anniversary at the studio.
Thank you very much.
If you're interested in getting a job in games or any kind of digital media industry, I guess my best advice would be to stay passionate, work on things that you really like doing. You don't have to have a high-end mocap system in order to do motion capture. You don't have to have really expensive software to do animation. Just do your best with what you have, and you can make really amazing things, and just keep that flame going. As Adam Savage said to me yesterday, stay obsessed.
I also went to school for animation. I started off wanting to actually be an animator initially, and then I ended up not enjoying how much time I was spending fixing problems that should work right out the gate. So I learned how to code myself, and then applied at Deck 9 and got a no back from them. And then 6 months later, they came back and said, actually, wait, can you come help us? Again, it's my first industry job as well, but I've been here for 7.5 years and loved almost every minute of it.
I literally text AJ this morning. I'm like, hey, can you please help us with this panel? And I realized I never actually introduced myself. I also work for Deck 9 Games. I'm our motion capture producer, and I got an English degree. I didn't actually know that. I thought I had no talent to get into games, and that actually led me to, I fell in love with film, and I went to film school. And it turns out that motion capture and narrative adventure games, there's a lot of overlap between movies and games. Games are so cinematic nowadays, and that's what we do. And turns out we needed also help again. So, no, that's awesome. I can speak for everyone here that not only are they all tremendous assets to our company and the studio. I've talked, even the people that have been doing contract work with us for years. The reason why we have folks like Josh and Celia is they showed a strong drive to learn. Even when they didn't have the job, they were trying to learn about games, learn about mocap to get their roles, and that's what led them to these jobs. So if you know you want to do something, highly recommend looking into it. And now I think it's about time we have probably a little fun with the display here. So if anyone would like to come out and be our little motion capture actor, you're welcome to. Just raise your hand, and if you have a question for us, I'd love to hear any questions.
And if you don't, the program will choose someone. It is choosing someone right now.
I will choose. Oh, yeah, I saw a volunteer.
All right. Did the studio start out in motion capture? How did you move into the motion capture space? It seems like a lot to get.
That is a great question. Deck 9 Games, before we were Deck 9, we were a game studio of 20 years called Idle Minds, and we didn't do any motion capture. When I joined, we had just adopted our Vicon motion capture system. I like to say that we shot mocap in a closet. It was like a really small room with just our performance director, one tech, who's not on the stage right now, and then myself. They realized it was a 3-man crew and not a 2-man crew, and that's why I got hired on. But they knew they wanted to do narrative adventure games, and they knew motion capture was the way to go. And actually, that was just body capture. Does someone want to comment on us adopting facial capture?
Yeah, so our first game under the Deck 9 title was Life is Strange Before the Storm. We captured just body, and then we eventually started recording reference footage of the actors' faces to make it easier for the animators to animate. But all of the audio was actually captured in LA. So we had actors who were not the voice actors moving the body, and then we had voices coming in from LA, and we had to somehow mishmash all that together in a way that felt believable and cohesive, and like it was a single performance. And after we were done with that, we moved into the next game, Life is Strange 2 Colors, and we knew that the best way to get the best performance is just to have the actual actor perform it once, capture all of that data, all of that nuance, and then hand that off to the animators instead. Because if you think about it, every motion, every single thing that you do is only going to happen once, ever. And if we can capture all of that data and present it back to you, then that is going to be the most authentic experience that we can have. So part of that was acquiring facial capture software. So we tried out a couple different things where we built our own helmets in the studio. I got blinded by a ring light trying to test out a brand new helmet. And eventually we found the software that we use now. And so we capture in our mocap studio body, face, and the actors' voices all at once. So you get as close to the real actual performance that these people did when you're seeing it on screen.
And because we're at FANEXPO, so you all are probably familiar with just the general idea of an actor. Actors are someone we are missing from the stage right now, and I can speak to the full performance side. We retain so much more of originally what they do, and so there's even more creative ownership. And that's where the magic comes from in our games. The magic of there's little nuances like mannerisms that we'll do, whether it's with your body or your face, that with a full performance motion capture set, we just pick it up. And so when you see our performances in the game, that comes from the actors. That's not sometimes it's from scratch. There's an animal in the game, there's a good chance it was from scratch. We can't really mocap animals very well. But yeah, I think is the ideal way to do it. So. Josh, do you want to give us a little just breakdown of what are we actually looking at here?
What is currently on the screen is called Dollars Mocap. It uses the Google Media Pipeline, but it is a software that is markerless mocap. As you can tell that, there you go, Corwin, you've stolen the skeleton from this person.
I'm a pirate.
So yeah, now he is driving on this. We can record this if we wanted to. We can put this on the skeleton in Unreal or Unity. We can do a whole bunch of other things. It is also tracking your face, although if you get a little closer, it'll get your face better. Get closer. Get closer. Yeah, all right.
I don't think people want to see this.
Oh, come on. Go ahead. Yep. See, now we're getting better face.
So now the face on the screen is kind of talking to me if I don't put the microphone in front of it.
It probably does do good when you don't obstruct your face. We know this on set. Why are you doing it here?
It was just an example.
Anyway. Yeah, that's essentially what this is. You can test it for free on Google Media Pipeline if you want to. This is not what we use, but this is kind of nice and neat and easy to use.
So I just had a question for, I guess, everybody, since it sounds like you work in a lot of mocap. What is like probably your favorite mocap performance that you have ever seen in a video game? Like, because I know The Last of Us had some pretty revolutionary tech with that, and then also I know Avatar kind of like set the stage for that type of stuff. If there's like something that you guys are like, no, this is it right here, what would you guys say?
I guess I'll start because I have the microphone. It was more a bit of like behind the scenes, but when we were doing shooting for The Expanse, we had about 9 different ways to simulate 0G without any actual equipment to simulate 0G. One of my favorite is that we had like a porch lawn thing, and we hooked an actor up to like a climbing harness, and then I was holding the rope, pulling them up to simulate 0G, and then I had to hold them for the whole take. And we tried to like swing them, I think. At least that's my favorite, but I'm sure there are others and others.
I'd just like to point out too that actor is an aerialist, which so she has insane core, and there was not just Josh, there were 3 people on like the other end of her to like, and she was just giving us direction of what she needed to do it. It was amazing.
So my favorite isn't necessarily like the technical serious aspect. I always enjoy the first time someone is fully in the suit and they see that we have in our mocap room a screen capture of the character that they're playing, so they actually get to like be in character and see themselves for the first time as the character that they're acting as, and they're always like, oh, I want to do like a little dance, or I'm going to start like Naruto running around the room as this character, and just really bringing it to life. It's always really magical just to see like the actual person becoming this character.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, everywhere.
One of my favorite actors, like even though he's done mocap since the beginning of motion capture, every time he comes in, he still does lunges, he still dances. Like he'll like start juggling at some point. Like he just absolutely loves it every day. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, obviously I'm biased because I love everything that we do on set in our studio. But to move away from that, if I had to like, I don't know if I could pick a specific scene, like the ones you mentioned were obviously incredible. If I could answer this question, and like, I could say that I love when mocap and other games are like heavily stylized. Like when I really love when the animators come in and kind of take over and like make the mocap look like the mocap itself is kind of already fluid, but it looks very human, right? Like you can record me and then put it on a character without animating it at all, and it will look fine. It'll look like a human. It'll look like me. But I really love it when the animators kind of slide in there, add in all the subtleties and nuances, and make it look like the character it's supposed to be. Adding in all like the animation principles and making it just look super polished and like tight and like great. So I can't think of any specific ones right now, but when I'm looking at mocap from other types of media, that's kind of what I'm looking for, and those are my favorite kind of shots. Yeah, exactly. that was, I think that was shot separately, right? The face and the body. Yeah, so the face animations were like great for the time, right? But because they were shot separately, the animations of the face and the bodies didn't look great. Yeah, and then that's what we try to aim with full performance capture, having face and body done at the same time, so they look a lot more natural.
You can try it if you want to try the motion
Mine's a
capture.
bit more of an abstract concept as well, but when you look at any of the facial performances that we capture, even if you put it on a character that looks nothing like the actor, they start to look like the actor. Because the face, the way you move your face is how you look. If you see anyone who does like impressions of like Jimi Hendrix or I don't know, anyone really, like the way that they hold their face is how they get the sound to sound correctly. And we can take that same animation that was captured on our lead character and put it on a character that's just off in the background, and it'll still look like that main actor. And that is so cool to me that so much of that information is just baked into what we're capturing that you can still see them do that.
And our system has found Waldo. Do we have any more questions out there? Oh, one over here. Do you want to be in the spotlight for this, or just come be you? Yeah, get out here. So you just walk in front of Waldo. If you walk in front of him, you should be able to steal it. There you go. All right, I'm gonna come to you and hope I don't steal it.
What was your least favorite project?
Maybe I retailor the question to what is the most challenging aspect you guys have dealt with on your project?
It doesn't pertain to any particular project, but at some point, we're trying to make our motion capture bigger and better than ever, which means trying to get as much accurate capture as we can. So we thought it would be a good idea to track every single finger on a hand, which you think we would do to begin with, right? We only really track a few fingers and they kind of interpolate the rest of the way, and then the animators go in and animate the rest of the fingers for very specific gestures. But we thought, you know what, no, let's just capture the fidelity of the hand. Turns out, when you add more markers to a hand, it means you have to clean up more afterwards. That increased our cleanup process by like 5-fold, like 5 times the amount of work, 5 times the amount of hours put in. And that was a nightmare. We stuck with that for a little bit until we realized that it was not something we could keep doing in a timely manner. So that's happened on, I can't remember what project it was, but it was a while ago. We haven't exactly revisited that, but for which I'm thankful for. Yeah, that's my least favorite part.
I have a similar story of a least favorite part. Similar to that, there's a process of motion capture post where you have to build the skeleton of the character, and there's a nice little button that does it automatically, but for a while we were like, hey, we're going to do this ourselves manually. And the results were close, but the characters would always come out with either like a broken neck or a broken foot. Whereas when you just press the button, it was just fixed. So there was about 3 months where we were trying to do this manually, and then we decided, let's just push the button. And it saved so much time, so much headache, made our lives so much easier.
So just to actually build off of that, would that be a good example of, because personally AI in art is something that shouldn't happen, but would that be a good example of where AI and artificial intelligence would be, in a sense, a better usage to where it could fix something like that?
So when you capture all of your motion capture data, there's hours and hours and hours of footage. So if you were to train on your own footage that you've already captured, there's a lot to be gleaned from that. There may be uses for things like AI in motion capture, so long as you're keeping it insular to the information or the data or the art that you've already created. But there's so much there that, yeah, there's definitely potentially space for that.
Cool. Oh yeah.
So with this, because I know it's like a free program, there's a little bit of a delay and it doesn't like move exactly. So how does that differ from the motion capture that you guys use?
So the software we're using sends out a signal from each of those infrared cameras a bunch of times per second. It's 120 times every second that camera says, tell me where a marker is. And each actor has something like 55, 60 markers on them. So there's all this data, and we have, I don't even know how many cameras at this point. 24. So I'm not going to do the math, but that's how many times per second and all these different angles we're capturing this particular spot in space. Whereas what we're seeing here is just using a flat image and is based off of the movement determining that's a human being. And that's about all I know.
Yeah, for those that didn't hear him, this is 2D, but what we do at our studio is 3D. Because we have cameras all around and we're optimizing the position based off what we're capturing to make sure we get all the data. So we're coming to a close. So one thing I do want to ask, 2 questions. First one is, obviously this is free as I understand it, right? So like, if someone were interested in motion capture, what should they look into themselves, like from home even?
This is a good option. This is kind of a trial, so you can absolutely do this at home. This is called Dollars Mocap. Sorry, 1 second. Just discussing different options.
There you go.
You see this a lot in the VTuber realm, where a lot of people at home will make, their own little anime character, and even on Steam they have like VRoid Studio. A lot of these are free. It's just download it, plug and play. Just need a webcam, and you can just do motion capture from home with your webcam.
Dance. Awesome. And then, do you guys have any like parting advice for people that maybe aren't necessarily interested in motion capture, but just interested in games? Like, how would you get into this field?
Stay passionate. Keep creating. Keep doing stuff like this. Go to panels. Go to talk to people who are in games. We're just like average people that got into the things that we like doing. I think passion is the thing that takes you the farthest. Honestly, that you can go to school, get the top grades, but if you're not passionate, you don't want to keep doing what you're doing, you're not going to go very far. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Another big one, networking, and just like what Lex said, don't give up. I've heard stories where people start out as a janitor and then just start talking to people in the studio, and next thing you know, they have an animation job. It's all about getting to know people. Getting your foot in the door is the biggest thing, because once your foot's in the door, you can move up. You can start talking and go other places in the company.
I would say number one piece of advice is exhaust all of the resources that are available for free.
Dance.
The internet is a magical place. YouTube has hours and hours and hours, weeks and weeks of information for you. Going to school is important. Learning those skills is massive, but it is not a 100% necessity. It is not an option. There is so much that you can learn just by watching what other people do.
Keep consuming media. It sounds really weird, but just like keep reading, keep watching, keep doing everything that inspires you to keep doing this.
And I'll just add, the biggest one I learned in games is have an open mind and collaborate. Because like I know we've all, to the question of like what are some of the most biggest challenges we face, it's when we're evolving, we're changing, we're adopting new tech and processes, we're learning how to work together, not just in like with all the tools, but with like brand new people, and like having an open mind and being able to like work well with others is like the biggest skill you can have.
Did you hear? Learn
games, I feel
well, work
like.
well
So,
with others.
Any final questions? Otherwise, I think we're about out of time. All right, let's give it up for these guys. Thank you, everybody. Have a good con.
And can we please give it up to Corbin, right? Corbin as well. And one more big round of applause for Tech9. Thank you so much, Tech9,